Yeah.
I've got your coffee.
Okay, so
What are you doing?
Go on. Yeah. Oh!
Dean. We're supposed to be getting ready to talk to the children about worship.
Yeah. Only a few minutes. Yeah, Beck.
Well, he's already backed himself 4 goals, most weeks.
Dean.
Come on.
It's very exciting, actually.
Come on, get your head on this.
Dean.
Come on.
How long are you going to be?
Come on. Beck.
Oh, Liberty's got one.
Yes! Whoa! What a goal! Did you see that, Beck? Whoa! What a goal! Wow! What a goal! But did you see that,
I
Beck?
did see that, Dean.
Beck, you wait. They're going to show you in slow motion in a minute.
Okay.
And wow! Look at this. You'll be amazed, Beck. Look, watch.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at the goalies, Beck. Look at the goalies.
Yeah, see where he is, yeah.
Look at the bend on the ball.
Wow.
Right inside the. Look at it. Wow.
West Bromwich Albion 0.
What a goal.
Dean, you're so excited
Wow.
about
That was amazing.
that. Dean, we're supposed to be talking to the children about worship. And you just reminded me. Can I pause this?
Go on then.
Okay?
Too far away. Yeah.
You have just been a perfect example to the children about what we're going to be teaching today, what worship is.
What are you talking about?
Because look at the passion that you were just watching that game with. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're talking about worshipping God and that passion that we should have with that. And what happened when you got up out your chair and you were like cheering?
Well, I was really excited, wasn't I? Wow, that was fantastic.
You were shouting, you were putting your hands up, you were so
Yeah.
excited. You were using all your energy when they scored.
Great goal, great goal. Yeah.
Because you're really passionate about that team, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
That's exactly what we're talking about today. We're talking about our passion for God and worshipping God in the way that you're supporting your football team.
Oh, right, I see.
Do they have other names for their team?
Well, Birmingham City's their name, isn't it? And it tells everyone that they are in the city of Birmingham. They represent Birmingham and stuff. They have another name called the Blues because they are playing in the blue kit, and that describes who they are. Yeah,
you really support these guys, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, so you watch them on telly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How else do you support the Blues?
Oh, yeah. When I was much younger and when my boys were growing up, we used to buy the kit. Another way, I'll tell you what, we just always talk to people. You know, we talk to other supporters, we talk to other people about the Blues, and the good, the bad, the rubbish, whatever. So we just talk to them a lot, about them a lot. And
that is exactly what we should do when we are worshipping God. So I was watching you when you were supporting that goal, and you got so into it, and you were describing to me where the players were, and you were going, look what the goalie's doing, Becky, and you were just looking at every little detail in that match.
Right.
And then the way you've just spoke about how you support that team by wearing the colours and talking to your friends about the games. They are all the things that we should do when we're worshipping God. And God also has other names to describe the many ways that he is amazing to us.
Okay.
Yeah, so you said this is Birmingham City, and you also call them the Blues. Well, there are loads of names for God.
Right.
But I'm just going to share 3 of them with you to start with, okay? Okay, so the first one is Elohim.
Elohim.
Elohim, yeah, can you say it?
Elohim.
Which means God.
God in the Bible?
Yeah, God in the Bible. And because God was the strong creator. So the strong creator God, that's what that name means, okay? So Elohim, the strong creator God. Okay, so the next name, Dean, is Jehovah, which means Lord, the relational God.
Yeah, I've heard of that name, Jehovah.
Yeah? Okay. Well, do you remember the story about Moses? So Moses asked God what his name is, and God tells him, he said, I am who I am.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I always wondered about what that meant. I am who I am.
I am who I am. That's the song, isn't it? Okay, but Jehovah is God saying, I am who I am. Okay, so we've got Elohim.
Right, okay.
And
Elohim.
And Jehovah.
Jehovah, okay.
Okay, right, the next one is Jehovah Jireh.
Jehovah Jireh.
Yeah, and that means God is our provider.
Oh, that's a bit of a rhyme, isn't it?
God is
Jehovah
Jireh.
Jireh.
God is our provider. Jehovah Jireh. God is our provider. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So when Abraham was about to sacrifice his son, some of the children might remember that story. God suddenly provided a ram in the bushes, didn't he? Do you remember the story?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And so he didn't have to kill his son because God provided.
Oh,
yeah? So
wow.
Jehovah Jireh is God the provider.
Yeah, but that was just back in Bible times, isn't it? That God provided.
So God doesn't provide things for us now? Have you been hungry today?
Yeah, I've had some lunch today.
Yeah, so God's provided your food today. Yeah?
yeah.
Have you got a nice warm house?
Yeah, I got
Yeah, so God's provided your house, hasn't he? Yeah. So God does still provide for us today, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So those three names of God, so Elohim, Jehovah, and Jehovah Jireh, tell us exact things about God and the things that he's done, and those are the things why we should worship him.
Oh, right. So now we're looking at God in more detail.
Yeah.
Just like when we watched the slow motion and I was explaining the detail of the curve on the ball and just going inside the box, the position of the goalie. That's like worship.
Yeah. So spending time with God, whether that's, so for you spend time with your football team, either watching it through telly or going to matches or being around friends that talk about it, and we can spend time with God in exactly the same way. We can come and meet with God in church, we can spend time with God in our homes, we can spend time and talk about God with our friends, our family.
So that's why we worship God, because of who he is.
And guess what?
What's that?
Well, there's always a verse in the Bible to support what we're teaching, isn't there?
Oh, right, yeah. Come on then.
So today's verse is John chapter 4, verse 23.
Okay.
And it says, "But the time is coming when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. In fact, that time is now here. And these are the kind of people the Father wants to be his worshippers."
I know that means truth is like you truly worship God and you don't just say things.
But when Blues aren't doing very well, do you still support them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No matter what?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it means. That's what God wants.
I know and really want to support God and worship God more than a football team who lets me down most of the time.
Yeah, and they aren't your provider. They aren't your Jehovah Jireh. They can't provide things for you.
This is true.
Yes.
This is very true.
Yeah.
Wow, Becky, I've learned something today.
Have you learned a little bit about worship today?
I have learned something about worship. So can I get back and...
I suppose, but I'm not going to watch it.
Oh, Beck.
Well, can
you
we
learned something.
No. Do you want to say bye to the children?
Okay, yeah. I'll see you next week.
I might spend 5 minutes with you. Bye, children.
Drink your coffee, Beck, whilst you...
See what you got.
Come on, yeah.